Hello. I'm here. Looks like everybody got here before I did, before the party. Is that true? Is everyone here and I'm getting here last? Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, it looks like everybody is. This is amazing. What do you know? Hey, uh, this is great. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Elaine. Hello, Jack. All right. So I'm here. I almost missed getting on the air. I got here's what I was just doing a few minutes ago. One of the things that I use a lot of is I use Google Drive. If you don't know anything about Google Drive, it's just this amazing giant. I don't know how many thousands or tens of thousands of servers they have, but you can store information up in the cloud, and it can be spreadsheets, documents, photographs, videos, whatever. So I have lots of documents, and what's really cool is that you can share them with people and set different levels of permission so that people can collaborate. All right, so that's a pretty cool feature. And I just created a brand new document. This may sound a little. It almost sounds like the beginning of the early parts of the movie of The Music Man, which is that old musical that's 50, 60 years old, right? So I think Haley Mills was in it. I think that was who it was, the young girl. And she was, there was this older woman in the Music Man that was kind of preoccupied with dying. And so early in the movie, there was this one scene where she's meeting with a mortician, going over her casket and the lining, and young Haley Mills is like, "What the hell is the matter with you?" And so throughout the movie, eventually what happens is Haley Mill, turns her around, turns this grandmother, I think it was her grandmother, turns her around, and the woman has a completely reinvigorated feeling about life, and tells the mortician, "Get the hell out of here." So anyway, so I created this. I'm starting to declutter. I told you I was going to do that, and I decided that, my kids, they might not know what stuff is. So I created this document saying, "Look, here's some of the stuff, and this stuff's valuable. This stuff might not be so valuable. This stuff is enormously valuable." Blah 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 blah. And so it's kind of a fun document. They're going to start to read it and think the old man is going off the flipping deep edge. All right, what do you think of my haircut? All right, so I told you I was getting a haircut. It's pretty short. All right, let's see here. And I'm going to get caught up on the comments in just a second. All right. If you haven't checked in yet, you should. You can look at all the people that have checked in. Jennifer, are you telling me you still did not get the drawing? If you didn't, I'm making a new one as soon as I get off the stream here at Al Mail in the morning. I'm actually going to take a flipping photograph and email you the photo. So I cannot believe you did not get that thing. All right, let's see here. Let me check up on the comments, and then we're going to get started here. Because look what I have. I have some metal roof panels. All right, we're going to talk about these. Let me get caught up on the comments. All right, let's see. I'm going to talk about painting them, so just hang tight. Elaine, you did remember. Jack, I also want to use a roof panel for privacy fencing. I don't know about that. I noted down here, I wrote a bit, put the metal panels horizontal framing. Okay, all right, here we go. So I'm caught up on the comments. Let's start talking about it. If you just arrived here, I'm Tim Carter. I'm the Ask the Builder guy. I want to warn you right away. What happens is after the live stream finishes, Google processes the video, and then it becomes a permanent video. And I have these people who, like, someone's going to probably watch this video tonight. Let's just say the live stream goes for an hour and a half. Someone's gonna leave a comment. You can go back to like the last two live streams and see a couple of these snarky comments. Somebody said, I forget what it was. I forget what we're talking about, but he just said like an hour and a half Oh, I know what it was. An hour and a half to talk about toilet wax rings. Are you kidding me? So, that can be taken a number of ways. All right, I get it. So I want to warn you right now. If you're watching this and it's not live, and if you think I'm going to talk about metal roof panels for an hour and a half, you're crazy. Although I could, if there's enough questions, all different types of questions, I could continue just talking. But once the questions dry up about metal roof panels, I switch gears. I go somewhere else because I don't want to, just blabber on about metal roofing panels. I want to help you save time and money, and I want to answer your questions about that topic. So let's get started. Hi, 8-Bit Vinyl. How you doing? Will's here. Are you kidding me? What the heck? He's supposed to be on the golf course. Don't you? You've got like 5 pairs of waterproof golf shoes. Can't you wear a flipping rain jacket or a poncho out to play golf? Come on. All right. So Jennifer, here's our first question. Can metal roof panels be painted effectively so the color doesn't fade or wear, or is it simpler, cheaper, easier to replace them? No, that's a great question. I talked about that in the, I just talked about this. Maybe I wrote a column about it. Everything's kind of blended together. Photons, the ultraviolet light from the sun that causes you and I to get sunburn, 5% of the ultraviolet rays contain active photons. The active photons are so powerful they can break atomic bonds, all right, of metal, certain metals, not all. In other words, they can easily do it with copper and zinc and lead, those three. Those are all materials that we typically use for flashing on roofs. So think about that. A photon is so strong that when it hits a solid piece of metal on the roof, all right, you got this? So you understand what copper is, right? Solid copper. So it's all these, if you could look at an electron microscope, it's all these tiny, tiny, tiny little atoms. Just think of them like BBs, like a little BB, like for a BB gun. All these tiny little BBs, and the photon hits it, boom, blows it up, blows one of the atoms, it's just kind of, and then the rain washes it down the roof. And what happens chemically, it can attach to the asphalt, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to get into chemistry. The point I'm trying to make is, if the photons are so powerful that they can break metal, like blast metal apart, what do you think they're going to do to paint? I mean, what's stronger, metal or paint? So the bottom line, Jennifer, is that the photons are going to, you already know this to be the case. Like if you put something out in the sun for any length of time, depending on what it is, the color will start to fade. So the photons are going to cause the paint to fade. No big deal. You can paint metal roofing. That's the good thing about metal. Metal loves to be painted. Wood hates to be painted. The reason paint flakes off metal or wood is because wood's got a very high expansion contraction coefficient. And so the paint can't stretch that much, and it eventually fails. Whereas metal has got a very low expansion contraction coefficient, just very little. It'll expand and contract, but not like wood, not like, wah. That means that's why you don't see paint. Typically, you rarely see paint flaking off of a car or a truck or a metal oil drum. The only time it is that if the paint, if it's steel and it's got rusty and water's got between the paint and the steel, then you're going to start to see it flake off. But if you can just keep the roof painted, it's going to last a long time. The metal, as long as you can just make it so that it doesn't get water to it, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So paint it. Simple as that. Don't replace it. Don't be replaced. It's very hard to replace it. I'm going to show you why in a minute. Really hard. Yeah. If you think you're going to replace a metal roof panel, you got another thought coming. All right. Let me get caught up. I also want to use a roof panel for privacy fencing. I guess you can. There might be just cheaper materials to use. In other words, you would just have to see how the nailing pattern is, how they're attached, and will it withstand. I mean, the trouble that you have, I mean, you live in an area where, Jennifer, where, I don't know, what, you can have 60, 70 mile per hour winds. I mean, that's, it can be really windy. And I just would be concerned about how resistant these things are to the wind, and how you're going to attach it. So but yeah, I mean, it would work. But there might be better ways to do it. All right, let's see if I get caught up. Will says she was only a telegrapher's daughter, but she did it. Come on. We got to keep it clean here, Will. Come on. Anyway, oh, you got the drawing. Fantastic. Jeez, it finally came. Good. Okay. Wonderful. Steve, hi. Steve, welcome. All right, so now let me show you. So here's what happened. About a week ago, a neighbor of mine, maybe just a quarter of a mile away, they put on a new roof, and it had been an asphalt shingle. And to the best of my knowledge, the roof that was on the house could have been original. Didn't look to be in really bad shape, but the new owner, the people who own the home now, bought it maybe a year or two ago, and I guess they just wanted to put a new roof on. And so they put this on. And this is aluminum, and it's I know it's kind of hard to tell. It's a green. It's like a medium, it's not teal. It's not a teal green, but it's definitely got some blue in it. All right, so, but it's aluminum. It's got kind of this roughish texture. I'll try to hold it up so you can see it. And you can see the way this works is, well, this is the front that you see, and here's the underside. So the underside has got these two folds of material, whereas the other two edges over here, the opposite two, the 180-degree bends here. And the reason why is that's how they interlock. In other words, as you install this material, all right, so I'm just going to put this in other words, the way it works. So you can see, once again, there's like, it's bent over here like a French cleat. All right. So when the roofer, when he has this bottom one on the roof, and then he goes to put the next layer, he slides it up. It's hard to do it backwards, believe me. There we go. All right. So they're now interlocked. All right. So the overlap, what's really interesting, you have to understand the overlap is only this much, a half inch. All right. So that's really important to keep in mind. And I'll show you why in a minute. And of course, when they do this, they offset the seams so that, they're, in other words, this top shingle here breaks at the halfway point of the lower one. That's how it's done, so that these lines, these like valleys, these little valleys, line up every other one going up the roof. All right. So now get this. This is the only place where it's nailed. Each one of these metal roof panels only gets one nail right there. So it's a very interesting system. All right. So and here's what's important to know, not only do they interlock this way, but they interlock at the side too. In other words, as they go up, they'll interlock sideways. I know you can't, it's hard to tell. So because of that interlock, Jennifer, could you imagine how hard it would be at a later date to take one off? Now, if you knew what system it was and you knew that there's only one nail, you can get up underneath there and rip that nail out. And then now you've got that one shingle loose. But it's very problematic. These type of roofs are much harder to repair than an asphalt shingle roof. An asphalt shingle roof, it's very easy. Like if you have one shingle go bad, and I have a video showing you exactly how to do this. I recorded this video maybe 20 years ago. If you have one asphalt shingle or two or three, like maybe a branch falls down, messes up two or three shingles, it's really simple to lift up the tabs, take out the nails, slide up new shingles, nail them, and as long as you do it in kind of warm weather, not in the middle of winter, so you don't crack a shingle, you can make a repair and no one even knows that you made the repair, and it's very simple to do. The average homeowner, you can do this repair. Can you take one of these apart and put it back together? I doubt it. All right. So now, one of the things that, because I have personally have never put one of these on, but I understand how the system works. And I knew it was going to be a French cleat system. Now, if you have questions, remember, the mic. Maybe, no wonder you can't hear me. No wonder, I'm such a dumbass. Is that better? Jeez, oh, Pete. Okay. Is that any better? Let me get this thing out of the way. Can you hear me now? Jeez, oh, Pete, I'm such a rush to start the computer. I don't know how much latency there is in the chat. Better. Okay, great. Thanks. Here's what's interesting. If I wish I could upload a photo to show you. You have to understand, on a steeper roof, and really even a shallow one, they've got to put roof jacks up. They've got to stand and work on boards, which means they have to have this metal thing that they nail to the roof above a shingle. Well, the trouble is, to get that out, to make it all work, they have to cut a notch here. Like they have to cut to, like where my fingers are, they might make let's see, it would actually be right here, be over towards the edge. They maybe would they would take 2 cuts right here. I'll actually mark it. I know, whiteboard. No, we're not using a whiteboard. Actually, I got news for you. The governor of New Hampshire has outlawed the use of whiteboards on live streaming videos. So I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to use a flipping whiteboard. So all right. So the roofer will take his tin snips and he will cut up this black line, and then he'll bend this up. All right. He'll bend it back up 180 degrees. And then he'll lay the roof jack on top of it and up on this part of the roof up here, nail it in place. And the when you go to take the roof apart, when you're done with the roof and you take the roof jacks down, they're made in such a way that you can slide the roof jack up. It disconnects itself from the nails, and then you slide it out and come down the roof. Now, the problem is that this shingle above it, this shingle's in place, all right, above it where the roof jack is, all right, and this roof, that shingle has got that metal part here that the roof jack just slides. I know this is very complicated. I understand. But I'm trying to tell you is that at those spots where the roof jacks were, there is there's not that French cleat connection like this, all right? Which is very water resistant. Like in a blowing rain, it would be very hard to create a leak. Well, that does not exist, because remember, the one metal they bent all the way flat. So all you have is this, and it's only bent up a ½ inch above the other one. So the trouble is, in a really driving rainstorm, like in a really violent rainstorm, the wind could easily blow rain up underneath that part of the roof and back behind the shingles. All right. For that to happen with an asphalt shingle, it's got to blow up about 5 inches. All right. 7 inches. 7 inches it's got to go up, except where there's an overlap. Then only got to go up like 2. All right. I'm just telling you that with one of these metal roofing systems, if you're going to use metal roof panels, you better have bulletproof underlayment under the system. Better yet, grace ice and water shield the whole way. And you have to use the right grace ice and water shield. You got to make sure you use the high temperature one, because these metal roofs are going to get hot. I'm just trying to tell you that in a blowing rainstorm, there are vulnerable points with at least this system. I don't know that it's the same with all metal roof panels, but I'm telling you, this one's problematic. All right, let me check the Let me check the comments. Steve's here. All right, there we go. It is Elaine, that is a metal shingle, and it's made out of aluminum. So yes. Hello, you lovely gender neutrals. Oh my gosh. Wait for Pinocchio for you. Ministry of Truth. Yes, you're exactly right. Exactly right. All right. Do you have any questions about metal roof panels? Metal roof panel questions. I'll take any and all right now. If you don't have any metal roof panel questions, I'll take questions about anything else. Anything else about your house? Anything else about really anything? A lot of interesting stuff going on in the United States right now. A lot of really crazy stuff. Uh, a lot. It's just a huge three-dimensional game of chess going on. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So crazy. So any questions about, let's see here. Any questions about, hi, Bob, how you doing? Any questions about metal roof panels? Let's see. Jennifer had really good ones. You can paint them. The key thing to painting is you just have to, the roof's really got to be clean. You have to you just have to wash it like you'd wash your car. And then soap and water is fine. Just with like an RV brush, really rinse it well. Just it's got to be clean. And then of course, when you go to paint it, this is where everybody will make a mistake. You have to try to paint it on an overcast day with a temperature like 55, 60 degrees. Like the worst time to paint it would be in the middle of summer on a sunny day with breezy. The paint will dry too fast. You don't want the paint to dry too fast. All right. Elaine says, why don't you explain the warranty required for the metal panels, not the metal shingles? I would not explain it because I don't know what it is. All right. And every manufacturer probably has different set of things you have to do to make sure the warranty is in place. So, it's kind of senseless for me to talk about warranty because we don't know which product we're talking about. And so you just have to read the warranty information yourself because you have to make sure that it's being installed. That's always the most important thing is if you're going to get a metal roof installed yourself, like if you're going to hire a roofer to do it, you have to get the instructions, the written instructions, and you have to read them yourself. And here's the good news. Those things are written for people with an IQ of 80, all right? So it's not rocket science to understand it. And the reason you need to understand it is you need to then watch and make sure they're going to do it right. And in fact, the best thing is to have a very polite meeting the day before the roof starts to go on with the contractor and with the roofer and the roofer's lead person on the job. And you have a meeting and you go over all the stuff. You go over like, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. I mean, you cannot just assume it's going to go on right. Yeah, cat on a hot tin roof. Let me tell you, Steve, roof's 160, 170 degrees Fahrenheit, buddy. Really hot. Will's got a great question. Do people install the metal roofs over shingles too? You don't get any insulating value out of the shingles. What's really bad about installing metal roofing directly on top of old shingles is understand that the metal roof will expand and contract, and the underside, like if it's steel roofing, the underside might scratch along the granules of the shingles, and that could expose steel. And then the underside of these roofs will always condense. There's going to be condensation all the time. And that's why it's so important to have really great underlayment. Otherwise, you're going to have leaks in the house. You don't have these condensation problems per se with asphalt shingles. But it's really, really prevalent with metal. It just means that you have to account for that. You have to make sure the condensation does not leak the house. And the metal roofing manufacturers know about this, and they cover how to deal with this in their installation instructions. And in most instances, you might have to install furring strips on top of the asphalt shingles to separate the metal roof from the asphalt. So that's, once again, you have to take the responsibility. It's horrible. It's sad that you have to do this. I'm sorry. Wouldn't it be nice if you could trust everybody to do a great job? No, you can't trust everybody. So you have to read the instructions yourself and see what you have to do. Yes, you would have to sand. You're gonna if you're gonna repaint, you've gotta do all the proper prep work. Absolutely. Let's see. Most metal roofing systems that I'm aware of require total rip-off to install. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Elaine's right. Most of them do. So you have to read the instructions and read the warranty. Simple as that. If you are here and you've not checked in, you should. If you don't like what I'm saying, you should. If you do like what I'm saying, you should give a thumbs up. If you have a story of your own that you want to share, type it in the chat. If you have a question about anything else about your home, put it in the chat. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. What else did I want to share with you? I had I had an interview today at 1:00. So that was 3.5 hours ago. I'm getting ready to write a new column. I haven't done this topic in a long time, about geothermal heating and geothermal cooling, and was talking with one of the experts here in the nation. And what's really interesting is how you would expect this to happen, that the technology would change over time. And in the old days, really all they did is they just talked about having a closed loop system, very similar to how a standard automobile in the United States or maybe the United Kingdom works, a water cooled engine. So think about your water cooled engine. You have a closed loop of liquid, with hoses, and you've got a radiator, and then the water channels, jacket goes around the engine, and the water's moving around. There's a water pump to keep the water moving around the engine. It goes to the engine, the water gets heated up, and then the water comes out of the engine, goes to the top of the radiator, flows down the radiator, and then it's through the bottom of it. By that, it's getting rid of the heat, and then, it goes back to the engine, starts the whole thing all over again. All right. Well, that's how it used to be with geothermal. In other words, they would take a pipe and create a big loop, a closed loop, and put this loop, in the ground, in a pond, wherever, whatever, and then it dissipates the heat into the ground, and then it either heats the pipe or cools it, depending on the time of year. So the guy says on the interview, he says, well, the current technology, as long as the location has got enough water flow in the well, is just to use an open loop. And I go, what are you talking about? He says, well, we don't have to drill a separate well. You don't have to have a pond. You just take the regular well where your drinking water is, and you've got the line coming out of the well. You just tee off that line, and you run that line to the geothermal air handler, to where the heat exchanger is. And you just use that water that's 55 degrees flowing over the coil. And then once the heat transfer is done, that water is taken right back outside and put right back in the aquifer. And I said, are you kidding me? That's going to significantly reduce the cost of putting these systems. And he said, exactly. But the key thing is your water well has to have enough flow. You have to have probably 10 gallons a minute of flow to make this work. All right. So it's going to be a really interesting column to write. All right. So, all right, let's see here. Let me get caught up. All right. Bob's got a question. What is the best shingle weight for asphalt roofing selection? Well, Bob, I wrote this book about 6 years ago called Roofing Ripoff. Really interesting book to write. I was so lucky to have my newsletter list. I put out the call on my newsletter list. Does anybody happen to have any old shingles still in a pack in their garage, in a shed, in a crawl space, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about shingles made in the 1970s. A guy in Harrison, Ohio. I mean, right around the corner from where I lived. I mean, seriously. Yep, I got him. Not only do I have the shingles, I've got the original receipt when I picked him up. He sent me the receipt. He sent me some shingles. I paid him for the postage. And the old shingles, Bob. So get this. The old shingles that I used to install back in the 1970s weighed 240 pounds a square. So that's 80 pounds a bundle. New shingles right now, if you go weigh them, I did this for the book. I bought a bunch of new shingles. They're significantly thinner. I was getting weights of about 180, 185 pounds a square. So there's 60 pounds less of asphalt in modern shingles. And people wonder why they fail. All right. So, you can just look to see, you can look to see what the weight is on the packaging. I just don't think you're going to find many. I don't know that you can even get any today that are like the old ones, 240 pounds a square. What you want to get, first of all, you should read the chapters, the free chapters in my book, Roofing Ripoff. So if you go to roofingripoff.com, go to roofing and just click the free button, read the 3 chapters, the 3 or 4 chapters. And what you'll find out is later in the book, you want to get shingles that have the styrene butadiene additive. So so the letter S, just like Sierra, Bravo, Sierra, styrene butadiene. All right. Where's S? I know. Whiteboard. Well, I'm sorry. Go look up the governor's executive orders, man. So SBS. You want the SBS additive, all right, in the shingles. You get that, you put copper on top, you're going to be in good shape. It doesn't really matter what the weight is. All right, here we go. Let's see. Vanessa, hello. Brent, I have a 1.5 to 12 mid-century modern roof. One length of the roof is nearly 60 feet. Think of using standard seam double lock. What are the feelings of this? That's a great question. Like, what do I think about that for a low pitch roof? Dude, that's actually that's such a great question. I don't think you realize how good of a question that is. It ties back into what I just said a few minutes ago about reading the installation instructions. You have to look at the roofing material because different roofing materials have got different specifications. For example, traditional regular asphalt shingles, the manufacturers will tell you, like, do not, like, it's real iffy. They say it's really iffy if you put these on a 312 pitch roof. Like, it may or may not work. It's like the borderline is 412. Like a 412 pitch, they'll go, okay, it'll work. But 312, maybe. 212, forget about it. It's going to leak, guaranteed leak. All right. So you need to look at the roofing material you like, and then you need to reach out to the manufacturer, try to get the installation instructions. Maybe they're downloadable from their website. Read the installation, see if they say in there, minimum roof pitch has got to be this. And I'm just telling you from experience to stay away from minimums. In other words, if they were to say minimum is 212, in your head, you may go, I'm good. Well, to me, that means it's like getting 70 in a test. All right. So if you get a 70 in the old days in a test, it means you just barely passed. In any event, I can tell you this, make sure that roofing manufacturer is okay with putting Grace Ice and Water Shield under that section of the roof, the whole thing. In other words, if you've got a low slope roof like that, I just don't want any chance of a leak. I mean, roof leaks are just nightmares. I get so many emails. They cause so much pain and frustration to homeowners. And now we've had this magic product for 35, 40 years, and most people don't use it. It's Grace Ice and Water Shield. If you put it over the whole roof and you do it right, I don't care what happens. You're not going to have a leak. All right. So is it worth that peace of mind? I do. Of course it is. That's the answer. Elaine, we once looked at some beautiful property up near the Virginia line, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Every building and both homes had metal roof installed. Yes, unfortunately, the roofer screwed the metal into the field. So wrong. Yes, you got it once again. That once again goes right back to the installation instructions. You have to read them yourself, and you have to understand how the roof's supposed to be installed. Chris, I got a new asphalt shingle roof for about 15 grand. I would have liked metal, but it would have cost 3 times. It could be. Depend. The different metal roofs cost different amounts. I would be this roof down the street from me, the home. It's such a cut up roof. There was not a doubt in my mind it was very expensive, but it was out in the field. In other words, when that roofer was away from skylights and away from valleys, this stuff went in. So I was standing there watching him for a while. It went in so fast. I mean, only 1 nail per shingle, as fast as you could slide one up, over, nail, up, over, nail, up, over, nail. I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, you could install this metal roof. This metal roof, I'm telling you, will install faster than an asphalt shingle roof. All right. So, I mean, it's just aluminum. I mean, so I'd be really curious to see what the cost was per square of that material. All right. Robert, it's not off topic. That's a great thing you said that. There's no such thing as off topic questions. You can ask anything you want. I just start out the live stream to talk about a topic, and then we might go to Roe versus Wade. We might go to the illness. We might go to me being a train conductor. There's so many things we could talk about. All right, but here's your question. Of course, ask any question you want. What's your deck cleaning question? I'm happy to answer it. When I can park, I'll ask. He's out driving. All right. Yeah. Be careful, buddy. No. You know who used to drive around and watch the live stream it was back in January, February, was Alex from LA. Alex, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got abducted. Alex, here's what happened. He just kind of swooped into the live stream, makes the bet about the Rams versus the Bengals. He lucks out. They luck out. I mean, the Bengals, daggone them anyhow. They had a chance to win it, and they don't. And I'm out a box of pecandes, dark chocolate, Aglamisi's pecandes. I send them out to Alex the next morning. He eats them. He goes on a vacation, and then we never hear from him again. What's up with that? All right. Jennifer, are there better metal roof panel colors than others? I don't think so. No, I think I would stay away from white. I think that the white would get dirty. The white would, just like anything else, just like wearing white clothes, it's going to show dirt right away. No, I don't think any one color is going to last long as the other. I think that's a really great question to ask the manufacturer. What kind of lifespan they're getting from their paints. And the obvious question to ask, if you can get them to answer it, is, hey, can you give me the addresses near me of just I don't know, two places that put your roof on 20 years ago? How nice would it be to go look at the roof 20 years later? Sure. So yeah, silver's a better reflector. Black, yeah. But here's the trouble, Jennifer, is that the silver's great for reflecting the heat. But no matter what, here's what happens. I've got, if you go to my website, askthebuilder.com, and you type into the search engine infrared photos. So I have a whole page of all types of different infrared photos I've taken from around my house with a FLIR camera. And the roof temperatures here at my house, the roof gets about 160 degrees on a June day. And so the shingles heat up, they transfer that heat very quickly to the roof deck. They transfer that heat very quickly to the rafters. And so when you go inside the attic, I don't know, at 2 o'clock, like after the sun's been beating on the flipping roof and we're past solar noon, and I mean, the attic could be 140, 150 degrees, right? Because it's just think of the whole roof structure as being like a campfire of glowing embers, all right? So even if you have a silver painted roof, I mean, here's the proof in the pudding. If you have a vehicle that has a chrome bumper, it's a chrome, I mean, bright chrome that's reflective as can be, it looks like a mirror, and you have that car parked out in the sun, why don't you put your hand on the chrome bumper and tell me how long you can keep your hand there? I don't know. It's gonna the bumper could easily be 130, 140 degrees. So the reflective paint doesn't necessarily stop the heat transfer. All right. All right, let's see. Here we go. What's the best way to remove iron water stains on plastic? I would get a very small amount of I would get some white vinegar first of all. That's the mildest acid of all. Take some white vinegar, put it on a flipping Q-tip, a cotton swab. All right, and just like do this when it's dry. Just take one drop of the flipping white vinegar and put it on one spot of the iron stain. Let it work for a little bit, and then maybe an hour, and then dab it off with a clean paper towel and look at the white paper towel. And if it turns orange, victory. All right. You know that you are getting it off. All right. It may take more applications, but that's what I would start with. Most of the other acids are really aggressive. So try that. Let me know what happens. What color would you choose, Elaine? Well, I mean, Jennifer, for me, if you want my opinion, a brown or a green, like this green, this is a pretty attractive roof. If I want, I'm going to go back and take a photo of the whole roof. It's a pretty attractive roof. Um, so I don't know. I mean, you're out in the country, red seems to be a good color, for traditional like shed roofs and barn roofs. The farmers typically painted them with that red oxide paint, iron oxide. Elaine, I did install both EDPM and metal panels, got it for a commercial company, not residential back deck. Okay. Steve, do you have eco roofs in the U.S.? Where we've had a few. They were just a joke, just a big flipping joke. The flipping, I'll tell you where I saw my first one in Cincinnati. When that whole movement was happening, like 20 years or so ago, the bank that I used to go to, you had to come down this hill to get to the bank, and you could see the roof. All right, and so this bank is trying to be eco-friendly. They advertise it in the paper, so they plant this ecosystem up on top of the roof, and you go there a month later, and it looks like the Atacama Desert. Everything is brown, everything is dead. Now it's become a fire hazard. They're just so stupid. It's so stupid. I mean, oh my God. Like, do they not know how hot it gets on these roofs? And then, I mean, think about this. You might go 3 weeks, 4 weeks in Cincinnati with no rain. And so you expect the plants to live? Are you kidding me? So now let's get up there and water it. Oh, now we're going to spend all this money to water, like idiots, flipping idiots. Is there any concern about catching rainwater? No, none. I don't have any concerns about it at all. All right. Bob's Park. All right, go. Cedar deck. Yes. Okay. Easy. Just use my stain solver. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is. This is a great product to clean your cedar deck. Go to stainsolver.com, type the word cedar, just CEDAR, into the search engine, and then I don't know that you'll see a cedar deck, but you're going to see different before and after photos of cedar houses where people have used it, and the before and after is just remarkable. Fantastic cleaner for cedar. So, and it tells you step by step on those pages how to do it. Yes, Elaine's right. You're gonna get color fade no matter what. I just explained that before. You've got these active photons, and they're just gonna blow up the flipping, uh, the paint. So, Jennifer, what I would do if you're concerned about that, you need to be asking questions to the metal roofing companies, very specific, and they have to give you specific answers about. Tell me what is in your paint that is makes them UV resistant, that they resist the photons, because we already know you can buy the. We have a I forget the trademark name. We have an umbrella for our outdoor patio, our table on our deck. This umbrella is it's got to be 20 years old. It came from Cincinnati. We used to have this umbrella at the table in Cincinnati. It's got there's a trademark name, Sun something. Sun, it's not sunscreen, sunblock, I don't know, Sun something. And I'm telling you, our that umbrella, whatever they've got incorporated into that fabric, it looks like the day I bought it. It has not shredded, it has not fallen apart. 20 years old. So that technology exists. I mean, eventually, if I left it out, it would eventually fail. So you just need to, Jennifer, you just need to pin the manufacturers to the wall with some tough questions and say, "Hey, I Tim Carter told me all about photons. I know that the paint's going to flipping fade. Um, there are these patio umbrellas. I can go look it up. Here's the trademark name. Tell me what you've got in your paint to make that so your colors don't fade. So don't just pick a color and hope it's not going to fade. That's the last thing to do." All right, let me get caught up. Here we go. Cedar deck, refinished successfully last year, semi-transparent, big box brand sealer, dog peas, I'll add it there. Okay. No problem. I don't have trouble with that. Let me get caught up here. Will thinks that he wants to put sheep up on the roof. Okay, I don't know how you're going to get him back down. Well, Robert, as far as I mean, I just put out a deck stain test results. If you go to my website and type deck stain test results, you'll see a document that you can get that tells you what I've been using. And so far, after 2 years, it looks fantastic. I'll maybe get 4 years out of it. You're not going to get. I don't think there's any product that exists you'll get more than 4 years. And even after 3 years, it may be a little shabby. The problem with the dog urine is that very acidic. Uh, I don't have any trouble with the dog going to the bathroom out there, but if you know the dog is doing it, if you don't have a hose out there, or if you can't take a bucket of water, you need to dilute, you need to rinse that urine off as quickly as possible. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna get some problems. So I don't care that the dog's doing it out there. I would just rinse it off. Sunbrella, that's it. That's exactly right. Thank you, Elaine. That's it. Um, no, well, no, Robert. What you want to do is go to the Stain Solver website. I have videos there. I have columns about deck clean. I tell you step by step how to clean the deck. So just go to stainsolver.com and look at the FAQ, look at the videos. It's so simple to use, you can't believe it. The key thing with using it is I always apply it to a dry surface, because if it's bare wood or whatever, I want the stain solver to soak into the wood. So just go. If you have any questions after you've gone through all that work and seen all the videos, just reach out to us on the Stain Solver website. Um, no, once you use Stain Solver and you scrub and you do exactly what we say, just once again, these are all great questions, by the way. Uh, Once you've done everything I show in the videos, you just rinse it off with plenty of water. Just take a hose. Doesn't have to be, don't use a pressure washer, just a regular hose. If you want to scrub it a little bit with a clean brush, it doesn't take hardly any effort to rinse the stain solver off. And then you get back to a neutral pH of 7 on the deck. because that most water is really, really close to a pH of 7. All right, let's see here. I don't know, LV. Let's see here. All right, let me get caught up. Sunsetter awning. I don't know. So, yeah, the sunsetter awnings, I'm sure they've got a UV protector in it too. The same thing. Steve Metaros wants to know, how's the news looking to you? Steve, it's a really here. I'll comment on the news a little bit. It's a really interesting past couple of weeks. Okay, understand that I'm not a professional pundit. And if Steve, are you still here? Steve will tell you, old silver top. So my knowledge comes because I've turned this color. All right. And I think what we're experiencing, it's a three-dimensional. Here's the best way I think to describe it. What's happening is a three-dimensional chess game. I mean, chess at 2 dimensions, hard enough to play. At 3 dimensions, like, oh my gosh. All right. Now, so, and remember what I've said in the past. All right. I keep going back to this, but to me, it's true. If you have not read book 1 of Game of Thrones, or you have not watched the first season of that television show, I beg you to do it. And the only reason why is the author, George R.R. Martin, who wrote the book, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, he was an older guy. He had figured it out. I mean, he saw around him what's happening in real time. If you just study history a little bit, just a tiny bit, you'll know that history and what's happening now are just about 3 things. Just 3 things. That's all. Money, power, and sex. Those 3 things: money, power, sex. And it can be in different orders for different people. Sex, power, money. Power, money, sex. I already said that. Money, sex, power. All right. So you can arrange them different ways. But those are the 3 driving forces of the people behind the news, besides the fuzzy stories, besides the there's all kinds of fuzzy stories. But so when you start to look at everything from that perspective, I think it helps you understand what's going on. Now, what's happening here in America. So here's what's here's like, let's just take one thing that happened over the past 2 to 3 days. So let's take the unprecedented leak of the draft of the decision about Roe versus Wade. So start to unpack that and look what happened is, so I went to bed. I go to bed at like 20 minutes after 8. That's when I go back and kiss Kathy goodnight. I go back and read for about 40 minutes, and then I'm lights out at 9 o'clock. So she tells me at 9 o'clock 2 nights ago, maybe it was 3, I don't know, 2 to 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's see, what's today? Wednesday. So I think it was Monday night. All of a sudden, breaking news. And all of a sudden, there's already a crowd of people at the Supreme Court chanting, and they already have signs made up. Now, do you understand? Think about that. In the way that news typically happens, the way in the old days, something happens. Let's just talk about a fire. Let's talk about something normal. Something happens. Somebody calls the police department or the fire department. The news, just so you know, in the old days, I mean, I used to work for the ABC and NBC TV affiliate in Cincinnati. They had in the newsroom, they had 3 or 4 or 5 scanners, radio scanners. I mean, the scanners, the lights are constantly going off. And they would hear the news, the guy on duty, the head guy, he would hear every fire truck dispatched, he would hear every police call, he would hear everything that goes across the radio. And so he may hear fire reported at 123 Main Street, fire. And then all of a sudden across the radio, additional alarm, blah, blah. All of a sudden it's a 5 alarm fire. That may happen in just 3 minutes. Well, there's no way. In other words, the fire call just got called in. It has not even yet been broadcast yet on the news. It's not even been transmitted anywhere. I'm talking not yesterday. I'm talking about the old days. No Twitter, no internet back then. So the general population has no idea that the fire is even happening. The only people that know the fire is happening are the people at the building and maybe across the street and the fire department. That's it. But magically, the instant that the news media hears about Roe versus Wade leak, oh my, there's been a leak. There's all these people with signs made up standing at the Supreme Court. Do you get that? Have you ever made one of those signs before? How long does it take you to drive from your house to the Supreme Court? It's everybody's being played, all right? How many times have I said this? Everybody, me, you, everybody, Elaine, Jennifer, Robert, LV, 8-Bit Vinyl, Steve, and London, all being played. But some of us are smart enough. We know we're being played and we know how to defend against it. So that whole thing was all set up. All right. And then for what it's worth, once again, think 3 dimensions. All right. Do you know what was supposed to happen that same night? Did you know that it was the premiere of I don't know if I'm going to pronounce his name right, Denise D'Souza, his documentary 2000 Mules about the massive vote fraud in 2020. So I mean, once again, remember, you're playing sex, power, money, right? Sex, power, money, money, power, sex. So the news is controlled by those 3 things, all right? And current events controlled by those 3 things. And the people that are in power don't want to lose it. Power is intoxicating. Oh my gosh, right? So when you start to look at all the data and you go, what are the odds? What are the flipping odds that there would be this crowd of 50 or 100 people that just happened to be, I mean, I've been there. I've been to the steps of the Supreme Court. It's right up there by the U.S. Capitol. What do you think the odds are that at that time of night, on a Monday night, you got these people just happen to be there? They just happen to have with them nails and sticks and poster board and magic markers. So anyway, bad stuff. All right, enough of that. So you asked me, I'll get to the comments in just a minute. First thing, it's too early to tell about Elon Musk. All right, I think Elon Musk. My money is on Elon Musk being a good guy. And if I'm right, if this will play out, understand the whole Elon Musk and Twitter thing is going to take another 4 or 5 months to play out, because here in America, the sales got to get approved. It's just like real estate. You know, it's not like going in and buying a loaf of bread. All right, when you decide to buy a company for $45 billion, you don't go in and just put $45 down and the next day you own it. It's a months long process. If Elon does what he says he's going to do, what he's alluded to, history will put Elon Musk right underneath the founding fathers. This is my opinion. Elon will actually be more important than Abraham Lincoln. So it's going to be founding fathers, Elon Musk, Abraham Lincoln. All right. Because he if he does what he says, because understand that the people in power, they want to control the conversation. That's why all the censorship was going on. right here, even on this platform. That's why I mean, if you're new to the platform, if you're new to the Ask the Builder, I don't say this word, the word that begins with that letter, you know what that is? And that's this word. There's another word, a big word the last 2 years begins with this letter. All right. I don't say those. All right. Because I'll get banned. All right. They censor. And because they think that I'm giving out disinformation. Since when are they the arbiters of information? And here in America, I think still maybe in the UK where Steve lives, we have the right of first. We have the First Amendment. Now I know that this is a privately. I mean, this is a business. It's but unfortunately, Twitter, it became like the digital town square. So it's a totally different beast, as is YouTube. But anyway, Elon. In other words, if you understand what fascism is, and when you live in a fascist state, and the conversation is being controlled. I mean, meaning like if you have a dissenting opinion, no matter what it is, and the people that are in power say, no, 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 go over there, sit down, and shut up. That's basically what they're saying. And if it's a bad enough fascist state, they'll shut you up permanently. They'll kill you. All right. Because the people that are in power who might be doing bad things, they don't want that exposed. All right. That's remember, Game of Thrones. Power, money, sex. All right. That's what power, money, sex. That's the fuel that runs everything. You may disagree with me, but I can prove that that's the case. All right. So that's what's controlling everything. I actually think that what's happening on a big scale, Steve, and then I'll move on. I think the next 6 months here in the United States are going to be, they're going to be epic. It's going to be a major paradigm shift on a social and political scale. The bad news is there is a financial storm brewing right now. I watched a video this morning, really troubling. It turned out that this video just became it was just a big long form sales letter. It's really kind of disappointing, but the first 20 minutes of it were pretty good. I'm here to tell you, it's really bad news. I've been talking here about inflation and whatever. It's actually worse than what I thought. And if you're watching this live stream right now, and you don't understand how bad the inflation is, but it's not only is it bad, it's not going to go away. And I could talk for a whole live stream about why. It's really bad. It's really bad. So you need to be in a position where you are able to buy things, is all I can tell you. Here's what you're going to start seeing if you haven't seen it already. I'll tell you this right now. And this is kind of sad. All right. There are people, I'm not going to name any names, but there are people on this stream. You are going to start to see people who are retired and who wanted to be retired. They're going to go back to work. All right. All right, here we go. Let me get caught up. There's a lot. I've got really all kinds. Here we go. Robert, sorry, officer. I know I was doing 80, but I'm writing Ask the Builder officer. So Robert, just so you know, that goes back. I don't know if Jason's here. Jason is our expert resident lurker. God bless Jason, by the way. God bless him. I swear. The people in Indianapolis and are so lucky to have Jason because they're going to have food. I wish it was true, Robert. I in a way I do. I wish it was true that people like a normal police officer would go, "Oh, Tim Carter. Oh, Ask the Builder. Got it. You're good, man. Go." If you did that, I'm pretty confident the officer would go, "What the hell are you talking about? Who's that loser?" Robert, about urine. Yeah, just rinse the urine off. It's okay that the dog does that. I don't have trouble with that. All right. Just rinse it off right away. The sooner the better. Elaine loves stain silver. I do too. It's really, really good product. Here we go. Here's a good question. Jay and D&O. Can you route your downspouts into a French drain? Yes. No. That's a great, by the way, it's a teaching moment. So I'm going to answer your question. Yes, you can do that. Here's something else you can do. You can go out into your yard and you can take a shovel and you can dig up some dirt and put it in a bucket, and you can come inside and you can dump the dirt in your toilet and flush it. I mean, you can do that. I'm telling you, I can do it right now here at my house. Am I going to do it? No. So the power is always in the question. And I know what you were asking. I got it. The answer is you would never want to put downspout rainwater in a linear French drain system because the whole point of the linear French drain system is to siphon water out of the soil. So the downspouts are just going to inject water into the soil. So you want to pipe the downspouts through solid pipe in a completely different piping system out to the lowest part of your yard. So do not introduce downspout roof water into a linear French drain system. Steve, have you heard Tim is realtor law trying to pass no commission for buyer's agent, listing agent to do full transaction? I've not heard of that law. I used to be a broker in Ohio for 25 years, trying to pass a law, no commission for buyer's agent. That would be a bad law, just so you know, by the way. In the old days, just so you know, here's the way real estate used to be practiced, and a lot of people were not aware of it. In the old days, and I'm going back to the 1970s, all right, and 1970s and before, there was no such thing as buyer agency. It did not exist. What happened is back in those days, the realtors, they got paid by the seller. And if you read the contract, if most people never read the contracts. I mean, I read them. I was a broker. If you read the contracts, the agents swear their allegiance to the seller. Do you understand that? They are swearing an oath saying, we are going to do everything possible to get you the highest price. And of course, the higher the price is, what does that mean? It means that the realtor makes more money. The poor buyer was like a lamb being led to slaughter. So if the poor buyer did not really understand this relationship well, even if you had another realtor that was not the listing agent, that other realtor is swearing an allegiance to the seller. This is the old days. And if he didn't tell you that and disclose that, and most didn't, then if you were to say things like if you were in a negotiation saying, well, I know they're asking $35,000. I'm talking in the old days, all right? I like my first house that I sold it for $35,000. So let's just say you're the buyer and you're talking with your agent, and it's not the listing agent, and you go, well, I know they're asking 35, but let's offer 32, see what happens. But if they stick on the 35, I've got the money. I'll do it. So the poor buyer is telling that to the realtor in confidence. So the realtor puts the offer in and basically kind of says, probably could get more money. That's the way it used to be. So now, though, we've had for years, for 35, 40 years, we've had buyer brokerage in the United States. So you as a buyer could hire a broker who works on your behalf to get the price as low as possible. But it gets a little fuzzy because sometimes they have in their agreements where the seller says, okay, I get it. You know, it's going to be an old-fashioned type negotiation. I agree to pay the buyer's broker. I agree to pay that. The buyer doesn't have to pay anything. Well, the buyer's actually paying it. He's paying it. It's built into the price. All right. It's just like free shipping. Who do you think? I sell stain silver. I offer free shipping. Do you think I'm paying for the flipping shipping? Are you crazy? I'm not paying for it. You're paying for it. Come on, wake up. You know that. You know that, right? The price of everything is just raised to cover the cost of the shipping. So you're paying the brokerage either way as the buyer, but at least you have a broker now who is working on your behalf, and they don't like if you say secret stuff to your broker, and it's a buyer broker, and you've got an agreement with him. He doesn't tell that to the seller's broker. Like, screw you, I'm not telling you anything. Steve, the best looking silver top at that. Brandon, metal roof question. Can you talk about low pitch roof and what metal panel? Yes, I can. I talked about that a little earlier, Brent. When you have a low slope situation, you want to look at the roofing materials that you like, oh, I like the way that looks. And then you go to their installation instructions. And typically in the installation instructions, they will tell you the lowest slope roof that you can use it on. And I would stay away from that, meaning in other words, if they say it's okay to put it on a 212 pitch roof, me as your builder, I would go, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I would try to convince you if we're building the house, if you want that roof, then let's make the roof 312 pitch. Let's make it steeper. Or at the very least, you can't change the pitch, then put grease ice and water shield under the whole roof, on the sheathing, as long as the metal roofing manufacturer is okay with it. It's a multivariable problem. So you have to find out from the metal roofing manufacturer what that roofing product is rated to do. Steve, when people go crazy for food supplies and toilet paper with a low mortality rate, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's just exactly. You're exactly right. Said it for sure. I remember police scanners being very popular. Yeah. Hair isn't as white. Hair is white as your Elaine's hair is not as white as mine. Mine's pretty white. Where do you see somebody like Elon Musk in the Game of Thrones? I'm trying to think of all the characters. Well, I would say Lord Stark, but Lord Stark, I don't want to, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I would say Lord Stark was. And if you know how the Game of Thrones is played, well, it's on my business card. Here. I like the Game of Thrones. I mean, my son was the one who had me read the book over a year ago. He said, "Start reading it, Dad." And the reason why is because if I can pull this together, I don't know if I can. I might. I've had this idea. I had this idea that came to me 4 years ago to write a children's. It's like a Harry Potter series. Is the best way to describe it. It's aimed at kids who liked Harry Potter, which were like 8, 9, 10-year-olds. All right. And then many adults liked Harry Potter, but I have this idea, and my son's an expert in all this. I know people love and they dote on their kids. I'm here to tell you, my son is an expert on all this fantasy stuff. 4 years ago, I'm sitting with him and I tell him my idea. And he was speechless. And he said, "Dad, that's an amazing idea." He said, "Dad, that's a really good idea." He said, "You really should write that series," because he thinks I'm a really good writer. He's a good writer too. But then he said, then he tempered me. He pulled me back down to earth. He said, "I don't think you have any idea how hard it is to do." And as a result, he says, "You've got a bunch of homework to do." And he started telling me all the stuff I had to do to get up to speed. And so the first thing to do was read Game of Thrones. I'm sorry for that moving around. That's on my business card. That's how powerful that quote was in the book. So to answer your question about Elon, when you play the Game of Thrones, this is what Queen Cersei said to Lord Stark in book 1. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. and then she had a pregnant pause. There is no middle ground. Elon Musk is playing the Game of Thrones at the highest level. You have to understand that. What is it all about, right? What's it all about and through history and now and in the future? Three things, right? Sex, power, money. That's all it's about. I hate to say it. I mean, take it now, don't anybody get offended by this, okay? Please. Take it down to your own personal level. Especially if you're a man watching this, a man, right? The women like Elaine and Jennifer and Vanessa, if you're here, I think you're going to understand this. But if you're a man, we're wired differently than women for a reason, all right? And vice versa. Women are wired differently than men for a reason. So most men, especially younger ones, some older ones, they're thinking all the time like, man, that would really be great, I don't even have to say it, all right? You understand? Like, boy, I mean, they think about it freaking actively, all right? Even at your level. All right. So, but when you get up higher, man, why do you think all these people, these politicians, and get stuck in these sex scandals? And just so you know, if you don't know what's happening, remember, it's about sex, power, and money. If you wanted to control somebody, if you know about Jeffrey Epstein, right? The guy that committed suicide. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. Does anybody know how Jeffrey Epstein got all his money? It's never really been written. Do you know? I think I know. He knew about sex, power, money. So he starts inviting people in to have sex with these young teenage girls. And of course, it's all video recorded. And the dopey the dopey idiots don't realize it's being recorded. He might have 20 cameras in a room, tiny ones, tiny spy cameras. They have sex for a day or two or a weekend. And the dopey guy could be like Prince, what's his name? What is it? Prince Albert? I don't know. Can you imagine this conversation? Jeffrey and the prince are having breakfast, like before he gets ready to go home. And Jeffrey hands him this envelope with all these flipping photos. None of this is hard. All right. Nothing. What's going to be on the golf ball? Nothing about this is hard. Oh my gosh. So let me get caught up. So Elon Musk, all you need to know, he's playing Game of Thrones at the flipping highest level. It doesn't get any more dangerous. All right, let me get caught up. I'm so far behind. All right. All right, here we go. Covert capitalism, communist country. Yeah, all right. I have not seen that movie, Gattaca. All right. Steve says Elon Musk hasn't unbanned me yet. He will. Don't worry, you'll get unbanned. It's just gonna. Hey, Steven, you understand why he's. It's just like in real estate. In other words, like my son. Like my son's a great example right now. My son bought a house 3 weeks ago. All right, he bought the house. It's under contract. No one else can buy it. Well, I mean, if the buyer wanted or seller wanted to be illegal, he could sell it to two people. But my son doesn't own it yet. It takes 5 weeks to close. All right. So, but on May 20th, just around the corner, he'll own it. So whatever day the deal closes, within a few days, you're probably going to get unbanned. All right. Frank's here. Hi, Frank. How you doing? I gotta find out what this movie's about. I'll ask Kathy about it. Steve, Tim, do you have a video on how to find individual contract? Yes, I do. I have a 4-video series. 4-video series. Yeah. Just go to my website, askthebuilder.com, and type in how to find a contractor. And what's cool about this video series The video series starts out with me talking about it in my shed, and then I say, "Hey, why don't I go show you how to find a contractor?" And it could be anything. It could be a roofer, it could be a plumber, it could be an electrician, doesn't matter. We jump into my car. My son-in-law has got the camera and we're driving. I'm talking as I'm driving, blah, 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 talking as, and then video number 3, we end up at the big local lumber yard, the true lumber yard, not a big box store. And then I walk in and I mean, you have to understand, this was all prearranged. I couldn't just walk in unannounced. And then I show you exactly how I find the best carpenter in Cincinnati. So yes, I have those. Bye, Elaine. See you later. Andrew, the horse-faced pig. Exactly. That's him. So thanks for being here, Elaine. All right. So that's it for that. That's it. I don't know where I'm at. All right. So I went way off the rails. That's okay. That happens. All right. If you have any questions, though, about your home, now's the time to ask them. Steve had some good questions about the news. All I can tell you is the next 6 months, the biggest concern I have, just so you know, Steve, the biggest concern I have is we have not yet solved the whole election fraud thing. That's not been solved. And I've got big concerns about that. I've got really big concerns about that. But I think something's going to happen between now and November that's going to get solved. But I don't see how it can happen that fast, because my big problem is, especially with the machines like here in New Hampshire, you know, those machines, they say they're not connected to the internet. They are. All that can be manipulated. So that's kind of roiling around in the back of my head. Like, how is that going to get resolved? And I just don't. I mean, it could really be resolved really easily. I mean, all we should do, I don't know, maybe they do it in the UK. And once again, nothing about this is hard. We should just go back to old-fashioned paper ballots. And in reality, voting should only be on one day. It should be a national holiday. And what the hell? Might as well have another holiday. What the hell? And you only vote on that day. And there's only a few special people that get to vote absentee. And I don't care how big the city is. It's so easy to have, you know, a Democrat and a Republican and an independent to count the votes and just double check them. So, and here's the thing. Who said? I mean, here's the news media. The news media has whipped everybody up into having this instant gratification about who won. Who cares? Go to bed. Like, go to vote. Go to bed. And then maybe through the night, all the counting will get done. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll find out who won. We don't have to know who won 20 minutes after the polls close. See, that's what's going on here. That's the trouble. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Got it. I got to write that down. I'm going to ask Kathy about this. She probably knows what it is. Gattaca. All right, I'm going to find out what that's all about. Exactly, right, Frank's right. I mean, there's got to there's nothing about there's not one thing that's hard about counting votes and doing it fairly. And there's not one thing hard about it. Nothing. All right, Bob. Thanks for being here. Got to get back on the road. I'm going to get out of here too. I've been babbling for the last half hour. I mean, it's crazy. But we have quite a few viewers, and I'm happy to stay here for a little bit longer to answer any questions you have about your home. You already know how I feel about everything else. But here's Steve. Are you still here? I think you're probably still here. Oh yeah, Will. Yeah, tomorrow, man, we got great weather. So Will, I'm going to fill you in, Will. I've been thinking about you. Here's my plan for tomorrow. First of all, the guy that I'm playing, his handicap is just about like mine. It's actually just 1.5 strokes worse than mine. So pretty evenly matched. As long as he's not sandbagging. All right. I know I'm not. If anything, I posted too low of a handicap based on what I did 2 weeks ago. My plan for tomorrow, first of all, I have to be there by 3, and, I'm gonna leave the house at 2. It's only 20 minutes to get there, and I'm gonna spend a good 15 minutes putting on the practice green, really get a feel for the greens. And I've decided off the tee, I'm only doing like 70% energy. I'm not gonna try to hit it hard and long. I'm just gonna try to hit it like you said, just 70% energy, old man swing, just get it out there, 100 yards, 150 yards, does not have to go 200, and keep it on the flipping short grass. Exactly. And then here's as you want to know, if I get a bogey every hole, I I cut my flipping handicap almost in half. So that's my plan. It's just not hitting it hard. Don't try to get a par because in my head, what happens, I'll typically go, I'm going to get a par this hole. And so I have to hit it harder to try to do that. That's crazy. My par, it should be a bogey. It should actually be a double bogey. So if I get that, okay. And if the other guy goes off the rails, I win, right? All right. All right. Here we go. J and D. And you recently said stockpiling food. Yeah. Oh, well, so that's a great question. Dried beans, rice, and I'm lucky. I have all these spare stain solver buckets around that all have the Gamma Seal lid. All right, that's a screw off lid with a O-ring. So, I know Elaine's got some, but she's gone. You can keep them clean them, dry them. So just keep a bunch of beans, rice, just a bunch of dried foods. Flour, get some yeast. Um, just things like that. I've been buying extra cans of soup, but we're kind of rotating through so it doesn't go out of date. So I want to have I think it would be nice to have 50 cans of soup on hand. And they're not like what Kathy makes, it's not fresh, homemade. Okay. We're talking about survival here. Right. So it's all a bunch of dried stuff that you can make. So in other words, you already know you could survive on beans and rice. You'd be pretty unhappy if you had to do it for a long, long time, but you could survive. I mean, my dad survived the prisoner of war camps on less. All right, so he was a POW for 5 months, 6 months. So he got fed crappy stuff. All right, so all right, here we go. Can you? Yeah, but Steve, yeah, but that was fixed. The fix was in for Macron. I mean, they got the same crappy voting that we have here. Yeah, I'm not gonna play 9 to warm up. I'm not doing that. I'm playing 9 holes, and I just know I've done this before. What happens is mentally. Well, you know this more than me. You're a far better golfer than I am. I just have a tendency to try to think that I'm Phil Mickelson or that I should be like Phil Mickelson. See, that's the trap I fall into. Like, I should be able to hit it like Phil. No, no, you should not be able to hit it like Phil. You only on your best day will you have a lucky shot that you're like Phil. So you're a crappy golfer. So that's okay. That's why we handicap it. All right. I mean, that's what's beautiful about golf when you think about it. I was telling that to Kathy. I mean, you don't get handicapped in basketball. There's no handicap in tennis. There's no handicap in ping pong. I mean, you could just name, there's no handicap in baseball. All right. So, but golf, I mean, the guys who thought this whole thing up in golf about handicap, it's brilliant. Because in reality, I can go out and play. I mean, I would love to do it. Wouldn't it be? Actually, I think I said this on a past live stream. I think it would be an incredible television show. I think that Phil Mickelson should play people like me on TV. I'm serious. You know, because if I've got a handicap of 35, okay. You know what? You got to play your game, Phil. You got to be at par, a little below. And if I have a good day and you happen to have a couple of bad shots, too bad, you lose. Tell me that would not be a fantastic television show as long as they did it right. There was no sandbagging. Oh my God, that can you imagine it'd be like what Miami Vice was all those years ago. I've gotten into this rut about watching past scenes and episodes of Miami Vice, and I forgot how good that show was. It was so incredible for its time. I'm just telling you. I'm thinking about writing Phil Mickelson a letter. I mean, think about it. Every hacker like me would be all over watching that show. Like, oh my God, Tim might pull it out, or whoever the shitty golfer was. Exactly. Just beat him every hole. Exactly. Exactly. All right. All right. Okay. Let's see. Um, so I don't know who you're asking that, Steve. I'm not a lefty. I'm a right-handed golfer. Uh, I think, but Mickelson, I think, is a left-handed guy. I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But I'm just saying, I just think it would be a great. I think that would be a great. I think that'd be a great television show. I'm telling you right now. The problem is, the person who's playing, like somebody like me, has got to be able to handle the whole star thing. Like mentally, they've got to be like I don't care that it's Phil Mickelson standing next to me. I don't care. He puts his pants on the same way I do. Big flip. He ties his golf shoes the same way I do. Big flipping deal. So but most people would just melt. They go, "Oh my God, I'm playing next to Phil Mickelson." And Phil Mickelson will have a great shot. Who cares? Who cares? For every shot he gets, I get 1.5 or whatever it is. I don't care. I'll get there. I'll get up to the green. Don't worry. By the time I get up there, we probably would be tied. I don't know. It's just a fantasy that I have. All right, Steve. All right, buddy. I'm going to get out of here too. Great that you're here. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be here Saturday morning, 8:00 Eastern. Thanks so very much for being here. All right. All right, I'm going to get out of here too. I got stuff to do. I got to go find out and see what the dinner plan is here tonight. The grub plan at the Carter House. A lot of people watching. I really appreciate you being here. That's a lot of people. Thanks for being here. Oh my gosh. Miami Vice. I've been also watching, just so you know, they've got a lot of really great videos on YouTube about the background stuff. I just watched a video yesterday about the guy who built all the cars for Miami Vice. And just it was just fascinating stuff that the clothes, like in other words, the clothes that Sonny Crockett, the main character, Don Johnson, wore, all very special. All, it was, those Henleys, those pastels, that was not by accident. That was that, it just everything. In fact, I saw an episode by Edward James Olmos, who was the guy who played the lieutenant. He explained his wardrobe and how he changed what his wardrobe was going to be, and the head wardrobe person like, no, I don't know about that, I don't know, and they just said, well, you can go talk to Michael about it, the producer, and so they finally, but that Edward James Olmos, he was a really, really great actor, and he could already see what the character should be, and that down to his clothes, that the clothes had to be perfect. And if you remember him in the, Lieutenant Castillo, or whatever, however you pronounce his name, Castillo, I mean, he looked like some bum in a way. I mean, he had the crappiest black suit, crappiest cheap shirts. That was by design. That's what Edward wanted him to look like. Thin tie. And the whole way he acted in the first 7 episodes, there's another video of him explaining why he did that. And he did not tell Sonny Crockett, or, he did not tell Don Johnson and Philip Michael, the guy who played Tubbs. He did not tell them he was going to do that. And when they were acting their lines, they're like, they weren't expecting that. And that's why that relationship between those 3 actors for the first 7 or 8 episodes was like it was. Edward James Olmos thought about that way ahead of time. It did not happen. It was not happenstance. You got to watch these. I mean, go watch all these episodes and these things about the actors talking about all this stuff after the fact. It's absolutely fascinating. So, my daughter is not going to be back here for Mother's Day. My daughter, now it's like she works for the CIA, is all I can tell you. That's it. She's having fun, but it's like she's working for the CIA. All right. So, but she will not be here. Yeah. Miami Vice. Fantastic. Fantastic show. Oh my gosh. All right. I got to go. Thanks so much for being here. A lot of people. I really appreciate you being here. And thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for bearing with me. We had a lot of great questions today. I'll be here Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. I'm going to play golf tomorrow. That's what Will and I were talking about. I'm really stoked. I'm playing in a league is what it's all about. And I've never done that before. And so there's going to be a little bit of pressure. I'm not worried about it. I don't care if I play badly. I'm doing it for fun primarily. And then if I can get my game a little better, awesome. All right. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah. Philip Michael Thomas. I could not think of his last name. All right, Frank. See you, buddy. Jack, see you. LV. Thanks for being here. Will, thanks for being here. Everybody, so many people. Gosh, so many people. I can't. Steve's gone. He's got to get up early. It's late there in the UK. It's it's almost 11 o'clock. It's 20 till 11 there. It's crazy. All right, Will, see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Sorry you got rained out today. Tomorrow's supposed to be a nice day here. It should be beautiful, beautiful day. So I'll be sure to reach out to you as soon as I'm off the course. Let you know what happened. Here's just so you know, on a realistic note, I'll just say this and then I'm out of here. If I win 4 holes tomorrow, if I just win 4 and I lose the match, I'll consider it a success. Seriously, I'll consider it. Wow, that's not a bad start. So if I can win 4 of 9, I'll be happy. Dr. Trollman, how often do I trim my? Guess what? It's maybe every 10 days. So I got a haircut yesterday, and Michaela, she forgot to trim my mustache. Like, are you kidding me? So I'm going to go down and trim it myself. I can't do a really good job of thinning it, but that's all right. It'll survive. But I've just got one of those small, I used to do it with the scissors. Very hard to do it right with the scissors, barber scissors, small one. But I've got this, hair clippers, not a big one, a small one made for that kind of detail work. And so the trick is just to do like this. You have to look in the mirror like this. So you have to make your lip like right now your lip's got a small curve to it. So I make my lip straight across and then trim it. But I'd have to get Kathy. To help me thin it out. So anyway, all right, Steve. Yeah, Michaela. It's Mikala. Michaela. Yeah, and Michaela. Great barber. She's a great barber. I just think we got talking, and she got my eyebrows, but she forgot my mustache. It's going to be fun. Lockmere. It's going to be great tomorrow. It's going to be great. We're playing the back 9. The hole number 10, little tough, dog leg left. And it's got this, it's an elevated green. Then hole 11 is a big, long par 5 straight away. Not much trouble on that. 12 is the hole of frickin' death, man. Hole 12, dog leg left, up this hill. Big elevated green. Fortunately, the green's really elevated. You would think it's an easy hole. It's not. It is this freaking hole of death, man. I should shoot a video of it. You should, and if you go to Google Earth and you look at it, it doesn't do really. And then the next hole, hole 13, is this freaking, it's a par 3 over the fucking excuse my French, over the gully of death. That's what I call it. You have got to make the green. You have got, and it's trouble to the right, a big hill that drops off, trouble to the left. You don't want to hit it too far. I mean, it's a tough par three, man. And then hole number 14, I got it mapped in my head. Hole 14, a pretty easy hole, pretty wide open, a slight dog leg left downhill. I've had a drive there before last fall where it was dry out and the ground was pretty hard. That my drive went like 270 yards. I mean, I hit it, man, and it had a very slight slice, hit the middle of the fairway, and the fairway's tilted left. It's tilted right to left. The ball just kind of rolls around. I mean, it was like only like 80 yards or so to get to the green. It was wonderful. So I could talk about it forever. The next hole, straightaway, par 4. Then hole 16 is a par 3. I got them all mapped in my head. Anyway, I should be in the zone on this course tomorrow. All right. Last great question. Jennifer's got one. I have a vaulted insulated, well, I have a partial vaulted insulated ceiling in my home. I'm a big fan. If I was building a new home, I would not have any vaulted ceilings. Or if I had to have a vaulted ceiling, I would really pad it more so that I could get an R in my climate in New Hampshire, Jennifer, I would want an R45. So that means that I would have like 9.25 inches of fiberglass, which is like an R38. And then I would probably like to put a 2 inches of closed cell foam next, and then put drywall on top of that. So I want an R48, R60 everywhere if I could. Is all I can tell you, because it's so easy when you're building to add insulation. It's very hard to do after the fact. Here's just, I'll end with this. If you want to be the richest person in the world, it's so easy. All right. It's really pretty easy. And I think that the NASA scientists were kind of onto something. And I actually went back and got, I remember a photograph I saw. If you want to be richer than Elon Musk, you come up with a product that is a 1/2 inch thick. It's only got to be 1/2 inch thick, 4x8 sheets. And it has an 1/2 inch thick. It doesn't have to be too rigid. Does not have to be strong. 1/2 inch thick, 4x8 sheets, but it has an R factor of 100. You come up with that product, you will be the richest person in the world. Good luck. One of our guys got a hole-in-one on our number 5. Wow. Okay, I know that hole. That's the hole that scares the crap out of me, the island hole. Old man swing, exactly. Old man swing. That's going to be me tomorrow. I'm going to have somebody videotape it. I swear to God, I'm going to try to have somebody videotape it. All right, got to go. Thanks for being here. Remember, if you want to be richer than Elon Musk, 1/2 inch thick, R factor of 100. Figure out how to do it. And if you need some help, I'm just telling you, go research how the tiles were made for the space shuttle. All right, remember those heat shield tiles? I already know all about this. I don't have time to talk about it now, but they're just special silica. Think how much they slowed, and that's all you're trying to do. Remember, the purpose of insulation is only to do one thing. It slows the transfer of heat. So the underside of the space shuttle had these very special tiles that slowed the transfer of heat to the aluminum body of the shuttle, except for which one was it? It was the Challenger that blew up from the rockets. Then the Columbia disaster. The Columbia one that burned up on re-entry was because it had lost some of those tiles. And they didn't know it. And or if they did know about it, which I actually think they did, I think they did know about it. They didn't tell anybody because there was no way for those guys to fix it. They were doomed. coming back in because the whole flipping rocket just burned up like a blowtorch. All right. So those tiles that are on the space shuttle, that's your clue. That's how to make this stuff. All right. And if you're successful, do you think you could just give me a half of 1% for giving you the flipping idea? All right. Just half of 1%. I'll be happy. All right. All right. Good luck. Gotta go. Good luck with that. If you start working on it, if you want to contact me privately, I'm happy to tell you about it. Thanks for being here. Jennifer, you're here forever. Crazy. So glad you got the drawing. So glad it finally came. Jeez. Amazing. All right. Gotta go. Thanks for being here. I'm Tim Carter. You've been watching Ask the Builder. And if you become richer than Elon Musk, God bless you. Good for you. Good for you. Do something good with the money. All right. Buy Facebook for, I don't know, buy them for like $100. That's all it's worth. All right. So just buy Facebook and change it to, well, I don't call it, it's really fascist book. All right. I got to go. I'm going to get everybody pissed off. I'm Tim Carter. I'll be back Saturday morning. Bye.